Why do we mispredict how much our emotions influence our behavior? The empathy gap, explained. The empathy gap occurs because we underestimate how much emotions impact the decisions that we make, causing us to leave emotions out of the equation when making predictions. We look to our current feelings and attitudes to give us an idea of how we might behave in the future, but depending on whether we are in a cold or hot visceral state, our actions may be very different. Example 1. The empathy gap and addiction. Addiction leads to very high emotional states in withdrawal that greatly impact behavior. However, when an addict is currently not experiencing withdrawal because they have just received a maintenance drug, they are likely to overestimate how much withdrawal would impact their need for the drug at a later date and may believe they'd make decisions that are more similar to actions they take in a cold state. Example 2. Projecting our emotions onto others. The empathy gap is not only a bias that makes us unable to predict our own behavior but also makes us less likely to understand the behavior of others who are in a different visceral state. We are likely to project our current emotions onto other people and predict that their behavior reflects what our decisions would be considering our visceral state instead of realizing that they may be in a different mental state. It is almost impossible for us to avoid the influence of emotions on our behavior, so instead, it is important that we acknowledge their impact. The empathy gap is mostly an issue that causes us to incorrectly predict our future behavior, which means that understanding that the way we feel, not just rational logic, impacts how we act, we can take emotions into account in our predictions. The empathy gap describes our inability to correctly identify how our emotions impact our behavior.